Hi, everyone. So glad that you decided to join us this evening for the Shower Door Professionals live stream. Woohoo! Here we are in the Zoom room, all hanging out together, talking about talking about shower doors. Can you guys even hear me out there? Can you hear me now? Oh my gosh, I didn't even have a microphone down here. I know I got a couple of microphones, but you know. Anyway, we do this every Wednesday. We get together, talk about business, education, safety, design, everything as it pertains to the shower door industry, glass, glazing, all that stuff. So, if you haven't done so already, take a minute to like this, subscribe, hit the little notification thing, and you'll know when we're doing this. And you can come on in and join us. Yeah. So how's it going out there? How's business?
Good.
Well into our fourth quarter, right? Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
That means we're wrapping it up. Are you
It's a
guys busy?
little slow.
A little slow right now?
It is in our area.
Yeah, we're a little slow. In fact, I think that the vendors are a little slow because I'm starting to hear from them.
Yeah, you're glad. Yeah, when you get something in just a couple of days or a week, something's up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those guys, sales reps that you haven't heard from all year, and all of a sudden now they're calling or dropping by.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on? You got anything you need us to bid for you?
Yep.
That's a sure sign that they're slow. So there's Christina. What's going on, Christina?
Hey, I'm driving. Sorry, y'all. I had dance tonight, but I don't know if you're allowed to have your light on in your car. I think it's like a law or something that you shouldn't. But here we are. I have a co-op update. I don't know.
Skirting the law.
I'm a real I don't know, do
A real
batter.
rebel.
But that's yeah. But okay, so the co-op though, we had a great meeting this week. We were talking over the membership agreement. So we got all the bylaws and everything done with the attorney, and he's wonderful. And now he's helping us with the membership agreement because there were quite a few things in our original bylaws that he was like, oh, let's save these for the membership agreement, because the bylaws are a little bit harder to change than a membership agreement would be. So there are things that we want to be able to make more malleable and things that really need to be kind of set in stone for the business. So getting all of that cohesive. And then once we actually have those things together, we do have a bank account now, and we're actually going to be able to accept real live members. We'll send out an email once we have all of that, and you'll get the bylaws, the articles of incorporation, the membership agreement. You'll get an application for membership, and that's where you'll declare who your I guess person in charge of your co-op representation will be. And then you'll also pick a committee that you want to join, because part of the co-op is being more involved and like participating, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it would be a big help if everybody did a little something, whether that's okay, go over photo submissions for the website, or go over blog posts for the website, or a membership committee that's new members. So I'm a little behind on that, and I know at least 2 people have asked me questions about the co-op, so I owe a couple people some phone calls. But other than that, we're doing really well. Did I miss anything, Chris?
No, I think that's a pretty good recap. There's a lot going on. I mean, if we were going to tell you guys everything that's going on, we'd take this whole call to do it. I mean, there's just like that much happening. So, but we're kind of tying up some loose ends, crossing some T's, dotting some I's, and yeah, we are good to go, ready to do business. So thanks for your leadership,
Brandon.
Christina. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No problem. I don't want to forget this. Brandon is helping us with putting together another event, so like kind of jumping off the energy we had at Glass Build from the Top Golf event. But it's going to be in the spring. We're thinking end of April, potentially 24th, 25th, but those aren't set in stone yet. But it will be kind of a weekend type or end of week type retreat. And it'll be kind of a working sessions where we can all work together on things like our numbers, our, I don't know, branding and marketing, stuff like that. So he's got all kinds of ideas. He knows a lot of great people who are going to help with this. And he's just kicking butt, so we're gonna let him kick butt. So that's it.
Right. Gonna let him do what he does. That's what we do. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. We're gonna have our own event, our own like destination event with like speakers and workshops and fun stuff to do too. So it's gonna be awesome. Love it. So anyway, getting back to what we were talking about. How is it typically at the end of the year? I know here in Santa Cruz, normally we get a good rush right before the end of the year. So it's kind of like people who, I think we have a lot of, we get a good rush right before the end of the year. So it's kind of like people, whoa, echoing out there. What happened? Yeah, anyway, like I was saying, there are a lot of like beach houses out here, right? So a lot of people who are don't show up until like the holidays, and then they like want everything done before Thanksgiving, or they want everything done before Christmas. So we get a good rush like that, which is kind of fun. I really don't mind it. I like being kind of under the gun. Makes things interesting.
The holiday seasons being in the middle of the weeks make a big crunch for us. So even if we're not busy, it seems like we're busy when the New Year's and Christmas fall in the middle of the week.
Yeah. Yep, no doubt. So how do you handle that, you guys? What do you usually do for as far as time off for your crew?
We'll be closed the whole week of Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I like to do.
We do that, and then we do a whole week at the 4th of July, and we do a whole week at Christmas. And that way we're all on the same schedule. Works well for us.
They threw you off this year for Christmas because it's in the middle of the week.
Mm-hmm.
What days?
So that would be
I
the
stumped
week
her.
that Christmas happened, right? So it's
Christmas is on Wednesday, I believe. It's on the 25th this year, in case you didn't know that.
20. Oh no. I was
Don't
thinking that was
say.
the 24th. So I guess it would be that week that starts on the 22nd and runs through the 28th. They're just taking that whole week off. 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. Right, Lana?
Yes. Yes.
I knew it.
The whole week. Yeah. So that gives them what, 9 days?
Yeah, that's a nice long.
So they love it. It works for us. Some people it probably wouldn't. You have to do a lot of work before the week before. You have to really be prepared and plan really well.
Yeah, it's cool taking time off around the holidays like that because people
Yeah.
are traveling,
But we just find that we're really slow during that time. So we might as well just take the time off and enjoy it ourselves since it's slow.
Are they getting paid for having the time off?
Yes. Yes. I pay them 2 weeks. Everybody gets 2 weeks paid vacation for the week of July and the week of Christmas.
And that's it, all year.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Are you hiring?
I am.
Because I'm looking for something like that with 2 weeks paid.
A little perk. We don't, we're a very small company. We don't have a lot of perks, insurance and things like that. So I feel like that's the least I can do is offer it to them, regardless of their seniority or how long they've been there. They all get the same. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm taking the last 2 weeks of the year off. So it just makes sense. That's like you say, nobody's really doing anything anyway, and
Uh,
you know, I get
yeah.
paid the same anyway.
Too.
I put in for the last 2 weeks off. We'll see if it happens, but whether I'm at work, I'm not going to be at work. I know that. So whether we go somewhere or not, that's a different story. But
Yeah.
when it falls in the middle of the week, we typically give the guys the day of and the day after, and we usually do a half day the day before the holidays. So we'll make a light day so they can get out, get out of work early and go finish some shopping.
Mhm,
So that's what we do.
Yeah,
mhm.
that's a good policy because people are kind of distracted anyway the day before or something, you know.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, the day before and the day after, just get a light day. So
Mm.
yeah, it works. And then if it's on like a Friday, we'll give them Thursday and Friday or Friday and Monday, just whatever we decide. So
Cool.
we make the rules, so we do what we want to do, right?
That's right. That's right. Believe in that. Mhm. Yes. What else? Anybody have a question? Anybody have a challenge that they're facing? Want a little bit of could do a little brainstorming session with you?
Christina was asking about those hiring questions.
Mhm.
Hiring questions. Oh yeah. What about that?
Did anybody see any good ones in the chat that you asked about?
No, I think we were supposed to post them during the week in the thing, so we're gonna be on top of the mind for tonight. I didn't see any all week. Maybe I missed them, but I
I'm
didn't
not
see
very
any.
good at homework.
Somebody go in.
Never have been.
The one I liked that I've used
No
a couple
question?
times was I think Brandon had posted it, and this is where I had heard it from. He had suggested that I add it to my list of questions for new applicants. Was, do you think you have good luck or bad luck?
Oh.
I thought that was a great one, and I tried it out a couple times, and it really seems to kind of show the mentality of the person that
Mhm.
you're interviewing. How do they perceive their life, right? Are they fortunate, unfortunate? Are the skies always gray? And that kind of gives you kind of a look and insight into the character of the person. Because that's one of the struggles that I've had, was not so much hiring so much on skill and ability, but rather character and personality. Because I'm looking for good character. The skills I can teach.
Mhm.
The character and personality, you either have it or you don't. And if you don't, I don't really, that's not really going to benefit me
Mhm.
as a business owner and where I'm trying to go. The other thing that he had suggested I do was on my listings on Indeed, to just, as I was going through some qualifications and the type of person we're looking for and the type of work that we do, to just randomly add in a line that says, hey, on your application, put a shark emoji. And what that is supposed to do is give you a better breakdown of who actually read through the entire application and all the requirements and everything you're looking for. So that guy that puts that shark emoji in his response, that guy was thorough and read through everything. I thought that was pretty cool. So those
That
were
is
my
good.
two. Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat,
Huh?
because there's, the number of applications and responses I got when the posting was live. It was just, I was blown away. I did not anticipate the response that I had received. And everyone's like, yeah, I can do this, that, and the other. And as it went on and I started reading, I could tell who was just kind of full of it and who wasn't. but that's kind of a surefire way, I guess, to see who really took the time to read through it and, you know, really pay attention to it, which again shows the type of person that you may want not only working for, but representing your company. That was my feeling on it. So those are my 2 nuggets for the night.
Love it. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
Can you guys hear me okay or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I've interviewed thousands of people and not necessarily that great at it, but I will tell you what has really come about over the years, and that is winning the interview has little connection to the quality of the job performance. And so often we have a great interview and then the person does not perform.
Mhm.
And it's because they're good at the interview. And maybe they should be in sales, but at the end of the day, the only thing that we have found that has been consistent is a minimum of 2 references from existing or previous supervisors, not coworkers, not friends.
Mhm.
You know, everybody's gonna have somebody say something good about them.
Mhm.
And then you get on the phone with those people and you have some really good conversations. And you build trust, obviously, that you're not going to, you know, say something out of care or repeat something back, et cetera, et cetera. You have very little luck with the chains. You know, like if somebody works at Sam's Club or Cost, you know, they're just like eligible for rehire. You know, that's all you get. But if you want to know about the character of the person, they can't run away from their past. And we don't hire glass experience, so we hire exactly what's been said before, and that is you hire character, because you can teach glass, you can't teach character. So we rely heavily on references, and the times that I've broken the rule have come back to bite me, because he's such a great interview. But I can't call his boss because he's currently working there. You know, blah blah blah. That'll put his job in jeopardy. And if I don't have 2 references of previous managers, I just pass.
Nice. That's good. It's a good tip.
What do you ask those previous managers?
Just start. What I want to have is a conversation. You know, what can you tell me about him? What can you tell me about him? And then I shut up. And, you know, the less talking, the better. And, you know, then you ask, you know, any drama, you know, there's always somebody at work who's the center of drama. Is this person the center of drama? You know, I'm looking for those character questions. I'm not like, you know, does he work 100 hours a week? Does he give 110%? You know, it's more about, was he trouble? Did he show up on time? Is he fairly smart? You know, and so those are the questions that and you just get into a nice conversation. And because, you know, the person you're talking to manages people, so they got a lot of commiserating to do with you. So, and they'll be honest, they're not out to submarine anybody, and you know, they'll say, yeah, the good stuff, and I say, well, what is it about this person you changed? Was there anything that you kind of had to stay on top of them for? You know, I know nobody's perfect. What is it that you would, you know, think could use improvement? Or if you were to hire them, you know, something that I should be on the lookout for, needs attending? Do they stare at their phone all day? You know, those types of things. So again, you're looking for character things that to figure out if you could live with those issues or not.
Nice.
You want to know the person. You want to know, and then we interview them when we bring them in. We interview them with the whole crew. You know what I'm saying? That if you're working as an installer, our 4 crews of installers interview them, so they get to ask our installers questions, and then our installers get to ask him questions. And it's a little intimidating, but it's not meant to be. We try to soften it up a little bit so that you know, and they tend to like that they get to meet their future coworkers and ask them questions. So they're not walking into an environment that's, you know, the boss says it's a great place to work, and then they walk in and it's terrible, you know.
Is that on the first meeting, Greg, or do you have like tiers of, like, you know, you do the first kind of interview, and then if it gets, you know, if they get past the first, you know, and then you stop bringing them in? Like, how many interviews you usually do?
3 tiers. Excellent question. First is a short phone interview, so we're not wasting everybody's time with the applicant on ours. You'd be surprised how many, well, you wouldn't be surprised, but you understand how many don't even show up for the phone interview. And then the second one is I usually do not go to the group interview. I go to references next, because if I feel like they're a good prospect, I want references, and the good ones will just boom, boom, here's my references. And then if they pass that, I have a really good conversation, and then I get maybe 2 or 3 of them, and we're looking for one position. So I may have 100 applicants, and we'll probably get down to 2 or 3. And those 2 or 3 will then be brought before the group, and then the group interviews them, and then we all, it's kind of a voting situation, and I don't like overrule them. If they don't like a guy or a gal, then they don't get hired. If they say they're just uncomfortable, they didn't like their answers. And so that gives them some buy-in of what I don't do is present the new employee to all the crew, because then they're like, oh, who hired this idiot? Oh, the boss doesn't know what he's doing. Well, hiring is hard, as you know. Yet if you get buy-in from all the coworkers who interview him, go, yeah, I like him. Yeah, okay, and it's usually fairly unanimous. We like candidate number 2. Then everybody's bought in on candidate 2. So you're not going to have all these people complaining about candidate 2 and what a moron the boss hired. So that helps as well.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. I like that.
Mhm.
And we also encourage, because a lot of the guys won't ask questions. So I've kind of come off this a little bit, but for a while there, I was requiring everybody to ask a question. So I provided a list of questions so that we would engage the guys a lot more. Because some of them will just stand there and look at the applicant and not either embarrassed to ask a question or don't want to be the center of attention, or so, give out a list of questions. Can you read a tape measure? Can you drive a stick? Give me an example of something that you screwed up at work and how'd you fix it? Do you like working with customers? Do you like working by yourself? So the prospective candidates really like the group interview from a standpoint of they look forward to meeting the crew, so they can kind of pull off the veneer of what does this company really like to work for. So yeah, step one. Go ahead.
Sorry, I feel like the biggest mistake I've made at hiring in the past is like trying to hire in the moment. So it's just like, all right, I need somebody, and then I tend to make sacrifices because it's just like I got to fill this spot, I got to get somebody in there, and then it ends up sucking. But like a job process is a bit more drawn out, so you can kind of filter through a wider variety of candidates and kind of narrow down on the better ones. I need to get in a better habit of kind of seeing the future and what's coming, and not be like, shit, we need a guy tomorrow. You know what I mean? And then you just kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel of the like you said, the knuckleheads that just kind of half of them blow off the whatever. You just need it just needs to be a process and not a quick solution.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to take 2 months. It just needs to be step 1, step 2, step 3. So for us, it's a short phone interview, and I've got a list of boilerplate questions asked. Step 2 is references. Step 3 is interview with the group, and that's it. And you're right. I love it when I see competitors in town put an ad in for an experienced glazier. I just smile.
If you guys are looking for a resource for understanding the best employee, if you're familiar with Patrick Lencioni, he's got a book called The Ideal Team Player, where he talks about hungry, humble, and smart. And smart means more like EQ, emotional quotient, like how can he read a room, he or she, are they going to say the dumb thing, instead of really kind of holding back and understanding you probably shouldn't say that right now. Hungry being, is this person going to go after and kill it and drag it home, or are they just going to let everybody do the other work? And humble. If you put all 3 of those together, you've got a really good combination, and you want all 3. If you only get 2 of the 3, you've got issues there that might be a problem. But I would highly recommend reading that book. It's a good one.
Nice. Yeah. Christina's saying we need a Shower Door Pros book club, at least like a reading list for sure. Heard of a lot of good books get suggested here in this forum. What's another one? Come on, you guys, don't hold back.
What does she mean by book club?
Oh, so like just about on a lot of these calls, someone will suggest a book.
Like professional reading, motivational, anything?
Yeah, usually, yeah, it's usually something like that. Business, motivational, self-help, whatever.
Yeah.
So somebody recommended Buy Back Your Time last week, and I actually started it. And
Me
I
too.
do Audible because I have a long commute. Yeah.
I do.
Um, it's great. And I realized that I am addicted to chaos. And it's like most business owners are addicted to chaos. It's like chapter 2 or something. So if there's not a problem necessarily, but you're so used to solving problems, you go and find one or create one
Yeah.
sometimes in like the worst possible situation. And I hope I don't do that too much, but I've caught myself a little bit, and I've caught myself, going and micromanaging or just finding chaos. And it's not a good way to run a business. And I just think that we might all be more motivated to actually read these books if maybe we did once a month, like, hey, we're going to talk about this book. We recommend you read it or whatever. And then if people want to join in or don't know that much about the book or want to read the book but haven't had that push to do it, that might be the push. I don't know. It's just a thought. We all are so busy. So I don't know that makes sense. But
no, that's good. That was a book that I brought up last week, and it sounds like a couple of people actually got it. I found it really helpful. And what I'll do is like I like to listen to books on tape too, like Audible, because it just makes the most sense for me. But what I'll usually do is go through a book, and someone suggests something, I'll read it or listen to it, and then the first time just kind of get an idea of like, is this something that's really going to be helpful? Is this something that's like, oh yeah, it's good to hear, good to know, there's a few tidbits in it, or is this something that really could radically transform something in my life? And if it's that kind of a book, then I'll go through it a second time and really like pay attention and make notes and put it into practice. And this is one of those books. It's like, oh yeah. And a really good book that I read a while back was The E-Myth. And I think it was somebody in this group actually that suggested that book, The E-Myth. And it was a great book. And this book, Buy Back Your Time, kind of takes what was in that book, but really makes it gives you practical applications for how to go through it step by step and actually implement it, which I found to be very helpful because that's what I need. I really need some like really practical steps, to follow.
Is there a workbook in that book, Chris, or is that a separate book?
So he's got a website. So you go to the website, it's buybackyourtime.com.
Gotcha.
And it was Dan Martell, I think his name is. And yeah, you go to his website and it's all there. He's got PDFs there available for download.
I gotcha. Okay.
He'll get your email address and start sending you some emails, but he's not really obnoxious about it. I mean,
well, I've been listening to the audio driving like Christina, but I haven't had time to open the book because that takes too much effort, but I can do two things at one time, drive and listen. So that's what I've been doing.
Yep. Yeah, I can relate. Yeah, that's what I do too. I mean, the only place that I have to read is like at home on the couch at night, and it's like it's dark. It's not a good environment. Probably after I'm retired, I'll be able to really like read some paper books.
Physically reading the book, I would be out cold.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah, but you see yourself a lot when you start reading books like that, because I know it's hard for me to delegate things because as business owners, we're very controlling people. We think they can do the job better than us. So sometimes I get caught up in that, go down that rabbit hole. And then I say, well, what am I doing? Somebody else can do this. I need to be working on things that are urgent or more important. But you kind of have to back and think about it, or before you know it, you're doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Ramsey has a good short read on the delegation stuff. I've listened to his speech on it, which I'm
Mhm.
assuming is the same as the short read, but he's got a small, quick read book on delegation, which is good.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey is a giant, man.
Yeah, he is.
crushes it, So anything from him is going to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I get all my reading material is I don't read anything unless it's been referred to me. Like if somebody's mentioned it or something like that. I don't ever just like look for books. I either hear them by somebody else that's in a position that I admire or something like that, or that's referred like on here, So it's got to be a referral type book, not something I'm just chasing down a rabbit hole of endless books. So it's got to be referenced by somebody somewhere, podcast or something.
Yeah, because there's so many. I mean, you'll never get to them all. And a lot of times, I've found a lot of books from other books. And it's interesting, like in the first chapter of Buy Back Your Time, he's kind of giving his history, telling his story, and just had a kind of a rough childhood, let's say, and I could really identify with the guy, like right from the beginning. We had a very similar background and experience. And then he starts talking about some books he's read. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've read that too." So it's like all the the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and How to Win in Friends and Influence People, and Think and Grow Rich, and all of the the major classic self-help books. But yeah, you'll hear about other books. You read a book and they'll start talking about a book that influenced them. Then you'll read that one, and then that book talks about other books, and pretty soon you've read all of these books, and they're good. Some of them are like great. Some of them really have great information. Some of them are a little weird. Some of them you pick up a little gem here and there, but it's like I don't think it's been a waste of time reading any of them.
This one I picked up. I met the author, and his name is Jonathan Tish, and you'd probably know him from the Lowe's Hotels group. And it's called The Power of We.
Nice.
And succeeding through partnerships. But as Lana was talking and Christina starting this co-op, that's really what this is about. This co-op is us as a partnership growing together, helping each other. It doesn't have to necessarily mean financial partnerships where they own part of your business, but it's collaborating to get to a common goal. Kind of interesting. But that's a good one. I'll put it back up again if anyone wants to.
Awesome. Yeah. The Power of We, Jonathan Tish.
So Jonathan and his family started the Lowe's Hotel Group.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny, as you were just talking about that, it made me think of another book. And it's Stephen Covey is the guy who wrote Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. His son, Stephen Covey Jr., wrote a book called oh man, wait a minute. The Speed of Trust.
Mm-hmm.
The Speed of Trust. That book was radically transformative. Getting a hold of that principle of just like how much time we lose trying to decide whether we can trust enough to to do business or move forward or whatever. And yeah, that's a great one. I could talk about that for a while, but it's just I started really approaching relationships completely differently after reading that book. And he talks about Warren Buffett. It had this thing where he would, when he was about to do a deal with someone, he would say, "Can I trust you?" And of course, the proper answer is yes. And then he would say, "I do trust you," and would just do business on a handshake. without writing up a bunch of stuff, whatever, just do, you know, start doing business. Because here's the thing, you can sign a contract with someone and they can screw you. Right? I mean, just because somebody, you know, you can get all the lawyers involved, you know, write everything up and they can not keep any of their promises. You know, or you can just, you know, you can just start doing business with somebody and find out if they're gonna do the right thing, keep their promise. So it's simple idea, but it really you just save so much time and actually money and everything else.
But
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
but when somebody tells me that they trust me,
yeah.
then all of a sudden the impetus is on me
Oh man.
to win that trust, to enforce or make sure that they were right.
You're gonna live up to it.
Absolutely. And that's I don't know if it's just a general person thing, but as a man, that hits me where I live.
It's your word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about all we have, right? That in our name.
Yeah.
But truly our own.
Yeah. And it's essentially the same thing, right? I mean,
Yep.
man, if you're that kind of a person, you know, and not everybody is that kind of a person. If you're not, it's
True.
easy to, you know, it's easy to, you want to find that out faster than slower, you know. It's like you can't succeed without failing, right? I mean, it's you have to be willing to try, and you have to do some things that don't work in order to find the thing that really does work, you know. And unless you're just super lucky, you hit it on the first time. That happens sometimes. You know? But so whatever you're failing at, you want it to be something that you can fail at rather quickly and
Fail fast.
inexpensively, right? So you want to have a lot of like really fast, really inexpensive failures. That's really the key to becoming successful quickly.
As
And
long as failures don't put you out of business.
yeah, right.
Right? I mean, it's easy for Warren Buffett to say it because if he loses some money, he's okay. He's still got a house, he's still got something to sleep on, he's still got some money in the bank.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs that are just getting started, that's one slip up could be fatal to the business.
Mhm.
And I think that's why a lot of people don't grow right away, is the fear that you know you can do it yourself. Can I rely on somebody else to help grow this business? So that trust takes time.
Mhm.
And you know, when Lana says nobody does it like yourself, I think we all been in that same boat.
Mm.
And it's very hard to delegate and trust. But if you're going to grow, you have to. But you got to take baby steps and make sure they're not fatal mistakes, because it is your business.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
trust is a big deal. A lot of it
It
is
is.
earned. It doesn't come right away.
Right. You know, and you can, you know, you can trust somebody with something small to start with, right?
Yeah.
There's this principle in the Bible that talks about that. Like, if you're faithful with a little bit, you know, you'll be faithful with a lot, right? So you
Yeah.
can trust people with a little bit to start with, see how they do, and then, you know, build up from there. One of the big takeaways from that book that we were talking about, Buy Back Your Time, is just basically with delegation, instead of, you know, hiring people in order to try to grow your business, just hire someone to buy back your time, to do something that you shouldn't be doing, basically, right? And he says, so his saying is, if you get someone to do it 80% of what you can do, he says, like 80% is 100% awesome, you know, if you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And even if you have to come in and do the first 10%, you know, get them going and let them take it to 90%. And then you have to come back in and do the last 10% to make sure that it's perfect. You know, he's done 80% of the work, or she, you know, I mean, they've done 80% of what you used to have to do that you didn't like doing or can't really afford to be doing because you need to be doing something more important. So it's not an all or nothing thing, right? Yeah.
That's what we're about to do. We're about to hire a salesperson to essentially buy back our time between me and my dad. He's a former builder who's essentially retired, but he's bored and wants to work. And I mean, what better person to do some in-house sales, take care of some measuring and stuff with some basic stuff, and bring in some accounts too, possibly because he has all the builder connections. So, I mean, we're going to buy back some of our time and bring in some new business, you know?
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
One thing you're going to find, Dan, and I don't know if you've run into this, but lots of times when you go out to estimate jobs and they know either you're the owner or the son of the owner, they feel a little bit of a license to beat you up on price because you can. You're the owner. And you're going to find that when you get a salesman out there, they're going to be selling for the higher price because the question doesn't come up.
Mhm.
You know, you'll have a tendency to feel bad and discount it for whatever. And that's an issue. And as you get a salesperson, you're going to find yourself being more profitable.
Yeah, and I used to be like that, but I got numb to it all of a sudden. And at a certain point, for some reason, it's not that I don't care, it's that I'm comfortable with our prices and I know where we stand with the competition. So it's like I really don't care anymore what you're gonna try to beat me up on. Like, we're good. I know what we're selling, I know what we're doing and providing. So for a while I was like that when I was doing sales for starting. And but all of a sudden I got numb to it, and I was, no, I've told people no a lot, because we're starting some people off at, good contractor pricing, and it is what it is, like essentially we're just providing a service of something you need. So I know you need it. So it's just, who are you going to buy it from, and hopefully you're going to buy it from us because we're better,
That's
so.
Bill's definitely
It's the
right
same
about
way.
being that one step away from the owner doing the sale. Because we had a salesman, it's been a year, it was a year ago. And Jamie will just talk and the customers will try to, haggle or whatever. And she's like, my boss will never go. It's my cousin. She'll just be like, my boss is never going to go for this. And the conversation just seems to end there. And it's just like, but when you're the boss having that conversation, they're like, oh, come on, you can do it. And they press and they press and they press. But when the sales girl says, I can't, my boss isn't going to do it. Like it just seems to end there. So like having that extra buffer, it's very effective. It's very effective.
Maybe it's just because we know like what exactly kind of room and margin we have to work with and what we're working with, so you kind of know what you're making, what you're not making, and where you can go, but you really got to hold strong to your margin because it's there for a reason. So.
Well, it is for sure. And I'm glad you were able to do that. It's just that we found it over the years. On myself, I have 2 boys out there, so we got 3 of us, and somebody knows somebody, and they're always looking for that edge. But once we started with salespeople and they have a written sale price list to go with, that's it. Question doesn't even come up now.
That's great.
Got to the same place you did, Daniel, except I guess with a different mindset. My mindset was, you know what? I work way too hard for this, and the buck stops with me. I know what the value of my work is. The product is the product, but I know what's behind the rest of it, the customer service and all of that. I'm not willing to discount my worth in the job because I know it's worth it, and they can take it or leave it at that point.
Yeah, I'm also finding myself now passing up on a lot of small opportunities that I would sometimes entertain just because I like to say yes or I like to take care of people. But I'm like, you know what? That's honestly, it's not worth my time anymore.
Those are no
Unfortunately, like,
profit.
I'm not trying to be like, hey, my time is worth so much money. But it's like, honestly, it really is. Like my time is worth more because I can just, your time is worth more at a certain point, and you've got to understand that you can't say yes to everything, like, because we do a lot of different stuff other than shower doors. So we can't be going out for some piddly stuff, honestly, and even for some service calls, like, sorry, we got to charge you for that. Like we used to want to take care of people for way too long. and extend our warranty for way too long and for things that are not really warranted, just because we're nice. So that stuff had to end too, like even if you're making $125 on a service call or something, it's better than giving the crap away because you were trying to be nice, and it's amazing what they're actually willing to pay for. Like, that's what I found. It's like, once you start doing it, it's like you get amazed at how much they're willing to actually pay for you to come solve some 5-minute problem,
And they don't necessarily
So-
expect it for free either.
No, they
But if you're
don't.
willing to give it to them for free, they'll
Yeah,
take
you
it.
think, like, we thought for so long that we were supposed to just give it to them because we thought it was so simple that it should be free. But honestly, it solves a really big problem for them. So, and they'll pay for it.
Well, they're paying for your experience, and it's a
Yeah,
5-minute
exactly.
fix, not a 2-hour fix, because you've been there, done that,
Yeah.
and they need to pay for they're paying for your experience. That's what they're paying for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody else could come along and make it worse.
Yeah.
In 2 hours
And they do.
and charge them.
Right. And charge them more.
So
I think
there's
we
that.
saw that on a post this week. Some guy went out to look at a job that had gaskets all over it. He says, "What should I do?" I think that's exactly what we were talking about. That guy went out there to fix it, and he put gaskets all over the thing and actually made it worse.
Yeah, you can. It's easy to do. You can definitely make a situation worse.
Yeah.
Here I have my wife is, answering the phone and talking to people, and she wants to help everybody, right? And I love her for that. She's awesome. She's sweet. But then, they're like, "Oh, we can come down in price." And it's like, she wants to be able to come down in price, And so this is how I kind of educate people. If and people don't realize this, but this is the truth. If I could do it for less money, it would be to my advantage to do that. I'm not charging you more because I want to. I'm charging you what I'm charging you because that's what I have to charge you in order to make this whole thing work. Because think about it. I mean, one selling point for a product or service is low price, right? So if I could sell it lower, I'd be crazy not to. And once you educate the customer that you want to do it, you want to charge as low of a price as you possibly can. Really, but you're taking everything into consideration. And this is what the formula works out to. Somebody else might be able to do it for less because they're not going to give you what I'm going to give you. They're going to give you less. They're not going to give you the quality. They're not going to give you the service. It's not going to be as friendly. It's not going to be as professional or whatever. I mean, what are they going to leave out in order to give it to you for less? And when you explain it to someone like that, people really do get it. I mean, people really are I don't mean it in a bad way, but ignorant, they're not business owners. They don't know. I mean, they just think, oh, if you can do it for $100, then you could do it for 75. And they don't understand that business doesn't work that way. And if you're really, polite about it and you really explain it in that way, I find that it works really well. If I can get my wife to do that. But yeah. Is that it? Mic drop? Are we done?
Yeah. So I was going to say earlier when we were talking about all the books and stuff like that, that's kind of one of the things that led me to this group, more or less, is failure to grow. Like, we were failing as a company. We've been in business for 20 years, essentially. My dad has, and we were very content, and there was no growth. There was just a failure to grow by intention, So, and then all of a sudden I started reading a few books and started learning some of this stuff, and eventually it led me here. So one of our failures essentially was failure to grow. So all these books and things like that, a big help. You know, it's not like a detrimental failure, but it essentially there's a lot of lost time, you know. So if I would have started learning all this, maybe I think I've been doing it since 2011. So say I would have started doing it a little bit sooner than maybe three years ago, we could have been a lot further ahead, you know. So I would say failure to grow is a big thing. You know, it may not seem detrimental, but it really is to your, you know, time constraints. So, but the books helped a lot.
Nice. Right. And there are different things. So it's like when I, you know, when I coach people ask me to coach them. And the first thing that I ask them is, you know, what is success? What does success mean to you? I mean, it's like I'm on, you know, it's like I'm honored that you see me as successful enough to give you advice about how to become more successful. What is it? Well, how do you quantify that? What's your definition of success? Because really the true definition of success is what you think success is. So you're successful when you accomplish your goals. It's not whether your friends think you're successful or society thinks you're successful or, you know, some government standard of success or you won some award, unless that's what you're after, right? So I mean, having the biggest company or making the most money or having the biggest house or car or whatever, doesn't necessarily make you successful, only if that's what you're after, you know. And we're not all after the same thing. Some of us are after different things, you know. So that's a big thing, you know. And what you've accomplished in the past 3 years, even if your business hasn't grown, I mean, maybe you've grown, you know. And what's worth more, you know, a bigger company or a bigger you? And that's my question, you know. It's like, what do I want? You know, what do I want to be? Do I want to be, you know, the richest or the most famous or the most popular or, you know, the best looking? Well, you know, I've already got that. But
Yeah. I got tired of just being good. Like
yeah,
the unfortunate thing is I was just in a really good, solid, standard, basic position for a long time. I just got content with it, you know? And then so there's no growth, there's no desire. It's so hard to have desire when you're just good. You know, you think you're just good coasting along. So but then I realized like how stupid that is, because the opportunity to be great is just like one step ahead, you know? So to pass up being great or to have the possibility to be whatever you consider to be great right there at your fingertips because you're just good and you're content was started to piss me off. So to think that I was just being content, being good.
I think one of the scary things in this business, and I think Chris will kind of attest to this because it was like a year ago you kind of went into GCS, is like we get old, right? Like this gray hair, you know what I mean? And this glass is not getting any lighter, right? So like at some point your body is like, I'm not bringing that friggin' piece of glass up 3 stories by myself or with a helper anymore. Like, so if you don't build a company around you, your retirement plan is to be carrying frameless shower doors up to the 3rd floor at 63, 64, 68, you know what I mean? That's kind of a scary thought. So like you kind of need to insulate yourself by building the company and the team and everything around you to not have to do that. And I know, Chris, that was kind of your big thing when you went to the GCS thing, because it's just like, where's my exit strategy? You know what I mean? How many more years do I have to do this? So it's not, you know what I mean? And that's a big thing with a lot of contractors, but us it's big because this glass is not getting any lighter.
ain't that the truth? Yeah, and it's just and you know, when you're in your 20s and you get hurt, you know, you get caught, you know, you break a bone, whatever, you know, it's not that big a deal. You know, you get into your 50s and you start thinking, wow, man, if I get hurt now, not only, you know, is it going to be really, is it going to be a hardship for everybody around me? but I'm not sure how well I'm going to bounce back from that, you know, and start making the risks I take today are not the kind of risks I took when I was 20. You know, the risks I take today are more like, you know, more intellectual in nature. You know, it's like I don't mind putting myself out there and taking a chance and looking stupid. Like the idea of like embarrassing myself, that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, not even a little bit. Where when I was a kid, man, that was the worst thing that could ever happen. It's like not look good in front of people, you know. But breaking a bone, no big deal. Now it's kind of like the opposite. It's like, yeah, I'd much rather fail in some, you know, other kind of pursuit than you know, than trying to do something heroic with glass. Been there and done that. So anyway, any last thoughts? Any burning desires to share something important before we go? Hey, it really means a lot to me that you guys take time out of your schedule to show up to this. I mean, it really does. It still blows my mind that that we can do this every week. I really don't run out of stuff to talk about. Sometimes we kind of gets a little slow, but thanks for being here. Remember that we're here every Wednesday about this time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Check out the website, showerdoorprofessionals.com. If you go there, showerdoorsprofessionals.com/podcast, you can find out about this. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, that's where you go to check it out. And can find all the archives and stuff like that. It's on YouTube, wherever podcasts are available. You can find it there. Rob's not here tonight because he's on his way to Vegas to get married.
Mm-hmm.
So he almost never misses, but I guess that's a pretty good excuse.
We'll let him slide this week.
We'll let him slide. Anyway, best wishes to you out there, Rob. Congratulations, man. I know it's going to be great. It's going to be a huge, huge success. All right, everybody. See you next Wednesday. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.